Alright, so now that we have our project and 2D toolkit installed here, let's start doing some stuff with it. So let's start by just doing a little bit of setup on the Unity side. Right now we have a huge game here. Gonna be recording this small window, so I'm gonna make it smaller. Just go to edit, project settings, player, and I'm gonna be doing a 640 by 800 game. So we have enough space here. Let's see if this is big enough. Can even put it here when we're gonna examine it something. So that's gonna be good. So this is gonna be 640 by 480 for now, or you know what? I'm gonna put it like 960 by 640, which is gonna be like the standard iPhone resolution, the 4S, I think it's the. So I usually use like 800 by 480, which is the Android mostly the most used resolution for phones, and I go from up or down for that. But 640 by 960 by 640, it's a good resolution too. Yeah, it's okay. So let's use that. And we're not going to change anything else, just that. So it's going to be the size, just so we know when we're creating the assets, we need to know this value here. So that's important. So let's import some stuff now. I'm going to delete this folder. I don't need it. Yeah, go away. So I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call it textures or SNC assets. So we're gonna be using assets from the Super Mario Chronicles game, which is an OpenGL game. It's open, so we can use the assets for whatever we want. In this case, education. Even to make a game, you can make a game with those assets, and nobody's gonna sue you or anything. They are free. So I think you just have to give them the credit for that. So I have the assets here. You can see these have the Mario, have a little bit of assets. That is climbing, this is walking, and holding. So these assets are pretty huge. This whole game is available on GitHub. If you search for the Super Mario Chronicles and find the GitHub repository, you can download everything. And the assets are pretty huge. I think this was like 512 by 512. I just made this smaller, hence the name small here. I made them smaller to just to have a more manageable resolution, because I don't know how they did it in the Mario game, but I think they just scale it, and scaling is something that Unity doesn't like that much. So I just did it smaller, and these guys are 128 by 128, which is perfect for what I'm going to do. So I'm going to import this. I'm going to create a folder here and call it Mario. No, not that Mario. It's going to be another Mario with a Y. And inside that folder, it's gonna be this guy. Let's put this big folder, which is the animation with Mario is big when he has like grab like a mushroom and grows. And I'm gonna maybe the eyes. Has a lot of different stuff. When he has some grab like a fire flower, it's different. When he has in a kind of a ghostly way. I think these line things are smaller than they should be, so I'm gonna fix those. This is the small one when he's small, and it's the same, but it's kind of cuter in the smaller one version. So I'm gonna import those two there, and I'm gonna import some game assets too. So we have some flowers here. You can see there's the flower, moon, some mushrooms there. So I'm gonna gold pieces which have animation there. I'm not gonna do animation yet, but we're gonna do it. And we have some blocks, which is pretty cool. So let's put these power blocks are cool, and the bonus blocks are cool. So just put all this box completely folded there. Just gonna delete that. So let's go here and delete that. Tom's freaking file. Delete it. Yeah, I don't want it. Delete that one. Yes. Should be another one here. Damn Windows, I hate when it does that, but I work in every platform known to man, so I got to deal with this stuff. So alright, so we have a lot of assets here right now, so I'm gonna work with this for first. So let's create a huge one. So let's go to assets, create a folder for all our to contain all of our collections. So SMC for Super Mario Chronicles collections. So we have assets and collections, and we're gonna keep those separate. So in the collections, I'm gonna create a 2D Toolkit Sprite Collection. And what the collection is, it's just a placeholder. It's gonna create a huge texture with all your text, your images, all your assets. So instead of being just separate files like this one, it's different files. They're all gonna be just all collected into one single file. You're gonna see what I mean in a moment. But why we do this is because the graphics card has to communicate with the CPU, or CPU sends stuff to the graphics card. So if we send one huge texture to the graphics card, it's easier to the graphics card just to say, okay, I'm gonna switch to this section of the texture now and switch to the other texture section and render that, instead of just calling the CPU and, okay, I need another section for this. Or I think, well, it's the CPU that sends the data to the GPU, just says, okay, now render this texture, and the graphics card go, all right, render it, and then another texture, and that it's what is called draw calls, when the CPU calls makes a call to the graphics card and says draw this, now draw this, now draw this. No, if we just say to the graphics card, okay, you graphics card have a memory, graphics card have like 2 gigabytes of memory and stuff like that, it's pretty cool, right? So what you can say, it's the GPU says, all right, have this huge texture, and then instead of just sending texture, you say, okay, remember that huge texture that I sent you and you have in your memory? Yeah, so give me this section of it. Now give me this section of it, which is pretty much instantly, is way faster than just sending the texture again and again and again and again, So you're gonna see what I mean, and that's pretty important, and especially for 2D games, because 2D games, or for any game, any kind of games, because the draw calls is what you have to be aware of. Even if you're doing a 3D game, you have to keep your draw calls at a minimum, so your device or your computer, well, it's not much of an issue in computers, but maybe on an iPhone or an Android device, it's going to be an issue if you have too many draw calls. It's going to be lagging the game, and it's going to be not pleasant to the user. So that's something you have to consider all the time, and be like all the time saying, okay, you have too many draw calls. Why am I doing that? What happened, or what did I do wrong? Can I compress more stuff into one texture? Can I have just two textures, or whatever, you know? So that's why we do this stuff, and 2D Toolkit makes it really easy to do. So in Sprite Collection, we're gonna put a lot of those single images, so it's performs better and works really good. So let's call this SMC collection. This is gonna contain, for now, it's gonna contain everything. Later, later we might do one for the player, one for level 1, one for level 2, one for the world, one for different things. But for now, it's going to contain all this stuff that we imported. So let's just, now that we have that collection, just click on it and click this button that says open editor here, and it opens this awesome window here. So just make this bigger so it's not confusing the stuff that's under there. So but I'm gonna need to drag the textures first. So let's go here to Mario, and I hate when that happens. I don't want to open it again. You know what, I'm gonna maybe just put it here, or so I'm not losing it. Right, so there you go. So I can drag stuff, and that doesn't go out of my view. So let's start putting stuff here. So let's put the Mario big thing, and this file should be named better, because we're gonna reference the files by name, I think. So I'm gonna think about it, but for now, just drag all those stuff, grab them all, drag them here, which is drop sprite here, drop them there. There we go, there are all the sprites. Now go, before we drag more, just say there's an option for the anchor where we want the center of this. And since I know this is the player, and I want the anchor to be at the middle and the bottom of it, so it's kind of like sitting on it. And some people do it in the left corner, but since we're going to be using this image and flip it to go from one side to the other, I like to put it in the center. So I'm going to put in the middle center, but the lower center, which is going to be lower center here. Just click apply. You have all those selected still, and the center is going to be here. It doesn't show the center, but trust me, it's there. So collider, I'm not gonna put any collider stuff yet. I'm gonna do it later. So let's go to the box now and grab these two guys here, drag them here. I'm gonna do anything to those. Gotta here, drag them to the bonus folder, drag those, and there they are. Go here to the spinning one, drag those, and yeah, you can see that it's gonna be, this stuff's gonna have to be better named, because it doesn't have like references here, but I can do it here actually. Just rename them here, I think. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do it right now. I'll rename them later. For now, let's just create this collection. And once I have all the assets that I want to put, actually I'm missing these ones. And yeah, this is gonna conflict with these ones. But let's put them there to see what happens. So they're there, and they added a 1 to each one. So I knew that was gonna happen. So I'm gonna have to rename all those assets. All right. The good thing is that once you rename the assets, you just have to regenerate this stuff, and it's a good thing that this happened, and we're gonna do it live here so we can see what happens and how you can just go back to this collections and edit them and continue doing your game. So again, those guys are gonna have to have the anchor to the lower center here. Before I forget, apply. Now that we have that, go to the settings page here, and here's the most important part of this. There's a lot of things here. We're not going to use a camera, a 2D Toolkit camera. You can define here. We're going to use a camera, a Unity camera, because we're going to use physics. So if your game doesn't have any physics, you can use the 2D Toolkit camera, which is pretty cool. We're not going to use it here because we're going to have physics to move the player, collide with stuff, apply gravity and stuff. So the target height, it's going to be like the height of your player that we defined before. Remember that? We defined this thing. So this is 640. This is the default resolution for the height, and that's what we said. The target ortho size is the camera size that we're going to use. I'm going to see that later. So let's go here and say the Atlas settings. This is important. You can change the texture settings to compression, uncompress. I generally just use these settings, which are pretty cool, and just tweak this if I need to, these two values. And just go here and set the size of the atlas and just hit the commit and see what happens. So let's go and hit commit here at the top here. Hit the button. It's gonna generate the atlas, and it's gonna say that it fit in a 10 by 24 1024 square. I think it did. It actually was 512 by 1024. So let's go to the collections and see what it generated. This is the one that we created. I created a folder, and inside the folder is an atlas, material, and a prefab there. So this is the texture that it generated. So if we double click that, you can see the texture that it did. I don't know how to move this up, but so there we go. That's the texture. So all the cubes are there, all the animations are there, and let's try to force it to do square texture, because I know that iOS plays about square textures or whatever. So let's try do force square here and try it again. It tells you here how much of a waste you have, and commit that. Okay, so I have a lot of waste now because I forced that stuff to make it 1024 by 1024, which is a lot of space wasted here. So you can see this is half of it, and just move this stuff here. So this is the whole texture here, like something like that. And all this space is wasted right now. But we're gonna have more stuff, so we still have like 60% of it still to use, which is pretty cool. So that's the texture that it generated, and that's exactly what we want. This is what I'm saying, that that we just send one huge texture to the graphics card. Just the graphics card just grabs the section of that we tell the graphics card to render. Alright, so that's and you can see that I generated one and actually modified the stuff and press commit again, and this stuff got updated. So that's pretty powerful here in to the toolkit. Like I said, I can even get out of this stuff, go to collections, open the editor again. You can see all the stuff, it's still there. So maybe I can go and rename these guys now, and because we need to reference these names later, so I might just want to copy that name and put them here. The better way will be if these guys will be already named like this, right? Not doing it by hand, but all right, we have to do it sometime. So all right, I rename all those things. Now I can again hit commit, and it's gonna regenerate that stuff. Go to settings and see how much I got. So there we go. I should rename all these guys too. This is the flipping animation when you hit the cube, and this is the bonus, but I know that's the bonus now, right? Alright, so that's the sprite collection. If we wanted to create another one, we can create a new sprite collection and put something else there, like I was saying, like one level 1, level 2, level 3, because when you're playing level 1, you don't need to load like level 3, because those graphics are not going to be used in that level, right? So it's smart to separate those levels. So one thing I want to show you before we end this section, it's gonna be, let's open the editor again, and I forgot to import let me just put something that is big, like a background, because that's stuff that we need. Where's my background? Here, I have some backgrounds here, and this is small, but these ones are huge, like 1K by half a K. This actually were bigger, but I made them smaller. Just delete that stuff. So let's see that we need that guy and that guy for this collection. Let's see, and let's put it on there. We need those two guys there. There you go. You can see them here. We have them here, but we need them in that same collection. So let's go to that collection, open the editor again, and just again put this here so we don't lose it. So there's the editor. We have the settings there, and we just gonna go and put those things there, those two backgrounds, drag them here. So there we go, that's the backgrounds, and you can see they are huge, right? Just remove this from that so we can expand it now. Okay. So these two guys are huge, right? Yes, we need to be scrolling on them. Ding, 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 ding. So one thing, it's this is already 1024 by something, and if I have the Atlas be a max of 1024, so if I commit these guys there now, it says that it's not gonna fit because those two sections are already too big. And what I can do is I can go here and say, okay, well, make me a 2K texture, 20 by 20, 248 pixels, and say commit, and it might do it. Let's see if it, but I have a lot of waste now. You can see I've wasted a lot of space. So let's just close this guy and go to see what it generated. collections atlas, and yeah, it is there, 2K by 2K. If you open it, you have a lot of waste. Let's see if I can make this. You can see this is the this is half of it. In half of it, it's most of the stuff is here, and I have this huge section and this huge section with nothing on it, right? And still we have all this section with nothing, so we have a lot of waste. So what we can do with this is there's a very nice option in 2D Toolkit to cut this huge images into smaller chunks and just put it all over the place. And when you call it back, 2D Toolkit just puts it together and gives you the full image. You don't have to worry about any of that. So that's pretty freaking cool. So let's go here, open the editor again, select those images, that one. So let's say this one's gonna be, instead of the render mesh, by default we're gonna say it's gonna be diced, and it says how many pixels you want in X, like from here to here is gonna be 64, and then slice it like that. So what I like to do is sometimes just put squares instead of just huge slices to keep it more organized. So let's put 64 by 64, and the other one, which is this hills here, we're also gonna change the diced, and 64 by 64 is okay. You can just test your settings and see what works. And let's try to go here, say let's try in the 1K file first, because we had a lot of waste in the other one. Let's commit that. Enable to fit. All right, it's not gonna fit, so let's try it 2K then. Let's see what it does. And it's pretty quick actually. So we have a lot of waste again. So let's see what happened. Let's see what happened. It's all right. So this is what happened. Let's open that image, and I don't think it's slicing it correctly. Let me just, because this one, just you can see they're huge long slices, and the other ones seem to be smaller slices. So I think I didn't apply something there. So let me just go here to the editor and say to this one, 64 by 64. Maybe it didn't take the 64 by 64. I should have sworn that it was gonna fit in a smaller one. Doesn't fit. It's weird. So let's see this again. 64 by, let's put like 128, 128. Let's see if that's better. That it's okay, diced. Okay, got a setting saying commits. Doesn't fit because I gotta put a tk texture there. Let's see, and it's doing something, and I still have a lot of waste. So let's see what's happening. Alright, so we still have a lot of waste, but you can see the texture is being cut into smaller pieces. I'm not sure why this is not being cut, but this one is being cut really well. So Let's see what happened here. Let's just see. 64 by 64. Settings 1K. I'm gonna try not to force the square. Doesn't fit. Made that. Alright, seems like I have less waste now, but it's not squared. So there we go. Now it's chunked a lot more than before. So you can see the player here is small, these chunks are small, and we still have a lot of room that we can put more images there. So that is pretty cool, and it saves us a lot of space there. So so that's it for this section. In the next section, we're gonna start doing this using this sprites into the scene and see how this stuff relates, and then we're gonna start playing with the animated sprites later. Alright, so hope you enjoyed this section. I'll see you in the next one.